It's been said in a number of recent videos that analog EQ plugins are a scam and a relic of the past, and that you'll be mad to even use them over your stock DAW EQ. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 good reasons to use analog EQ plugins and channel strips that contain them in your workflow. Hi, I'm Chris, and welcome back to my channel. The videos I referred to calling analog EQs as obsolete weren't all wrong, of course. Once you're talking about in-the-box plugin, there's very little difference between your bell, shelf, low pass and high pass, etc. filters between digital and analog EQs. So whilst there can be some difference, like cramped versus decramped EQs and parallel EQs versus normal serial ones, in general, anything you can do on an analog EQ, you can do on a digital one. So the first and probably most surprising reason to use analog EQs and channel strips is for fast and efficient workflow. So let's say you want to EQ your kick or snare. It's going to be faster to quickly get it to pop using the infamous Pultec trick on a Pultec emulation itself, rather than mimicking the same thing on a digital EQ. If you're not sure when you're doing some EQing how big a cut or a boost you're going to need, you can choose one of the analog EQ emulations with a proportional Q that narrows the Q as the cut or the boost gets larger. And when it comes to channel strips, often you can do everything you need to do in a track all in one place. You can even use presets on those as a quick starting point, either your own custom ones or ones supplied with the plugin. There is a reason why big studios use channel strips extensively in their mixing, either hardware or in the box. And you can bet if it were more efficient and easier to exclusively use digital EQs, they would be already right onto it. Reason number 2 for using analog EQs and channel strips: it forces you to use your ears. Yes, I also use digital EQs, and you know what? When I see that spectrum analyzer, I tend to want to use that to look for problems that I want to fix. Of course, there's such a thing as dedicated ear training, but if you're using an analog EQ without a spectrum analyzer, you're able to practice your ear training every time you mix. And if you want a compromise option, the TDR Slick EQ paid versions have a spectrum analyzer that's off by default, and the Price Hero EQs by Pulsar also have analog style controls with an analyzer that can be disabled. You could also use a digital EQ with a spectrum analyzer that can be disabled, like either the Legacy or the Current Tone Booster one, but I find that clunkier than just using an analog EQ to start with. Reason number 3, there's no need to overpay for analog EQs and channel strips. For starters, there are a number of free options. Analog Obsession have a wide range of analog EQs, and some channel strips are free. There's a Toucan set which has some analog EQs and channel strips, and there's a few miscellaneous other analog style free EQs around. In terms of paid plugins, the Voost EQ Model N channel is a stunning Neve emulation that only costs $20. Finally, the TB Pro Audio CS5501 is the most configurable and feature-filled channel strip I've seen, and at €59 is much cheaper than the regular price of much less capable competitors from Plugin Alliance, UAD, SSL, and so on. Reason 4, and this more applies to channel strips, it stops analysis paralysis dead in its tracks. Now, if you're anything like me, you collect plugins like their Pokemon and have heaps of options for EQs, compressors, gates, and so on. Sometimes you just want to get through working on a project with a minimum of fuss. If you simply stick a channel strip on every track, do the bulk of the work with that, and only add extra plugins for what can't be done on the channel strip, that's saving a whole lot of time. And finally, reason 5. You know that analog warmth that is attributed to analog EQs by the flashy marketing? Well, you're probably saying, didn't we all agree that was a load of hogwash and all EQs in the box can basically sound the same? Well, yes, but once we're talking about channel strips rather than straight up EQs, that changes things. Channel strips usually have built-in coloration and saturation. Now, this effect is relatively subtle, sure, but if you're using them on every track in a mix, the cumulative effect becomes much more noticeable. So there are other reasons to use channel strips and analog EQs, like say CPU usage versus running separate plugins for each sort of thing. However, those 5 are what I consider to be the most important reasons. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me that analog EQs and channel strips have a place in the modern landscape, or if you think their time has passed. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.